June 2024. As Spain was celebrating in Berlin, Didier Deschamps was already looking at a map of North America. He had the deepest squad in history. He had the best player on the planet, and yet he looked like a man who knew a storm was coming. For 14 years, he had been the general of French football, winning a World Cup, losing a final on penalties, and rebuilding a machine that never seemed to stop. But then came the spring of 2026. A 2-1 win over Brazil in March should have been a celebration. Instead, it was the beginning of the end. Why did Didier Deschamps warn about footballing arrogance just weeks before his final tournament? And how did the best attack in the world end up sitting in a doctor's office in Madrid? This is the story of how France became too heavy for its own feet. It started with a single sentence. In March 2026, after a string of victories, Lucas Hernandez told a reporter, "We are exceptional. We have the best attack in the world." To any other manager, that's confidence. To Didier Deschamps, it was a death rattle. He went on television the next day, visible anger in his eyes, and issued a warning that silenced the nation. "Arrogance is the first step toward the exit," he said. He didn't just want humility, he wanted protection. He warned that the world was catching up, that the exceptional were becoming exhausted. He saw a group of players who believed they were immortal, while their medical reports said otherwise. Every era needs a new face. For this France, it was Hugo Ekitike. The 23-year-old had become the bridge between the old guard and the new. He was the tactical partner Kylian Mbappé had begged for, tall, clinical, and fearless. Then came April 15th, a Champions League night in Paris. Ekitike turned to pivot, and the sound echoed through the stadium. A ruptured Achilles, 9 months out. The World Cup dream died in a second. Deschamps called it a huge blow, but in private, it was the collapse of Plan A. The best attack in the world was suddenly missing its heartbeat. And then there's the captain. Kylian Mbappé arrived at the 2026 threshold with 41 goals in 41 games for Real Madrid. On paper, he is the king of the world, but the reality is written in the semitendinosus muscle of his left leg. By late April, reports from L'Équipe were terrifying. Mbappé has been playing on one leg for 6 weeks. Inflammation, overloads, and a knee that won't stop swelling. The general warned about a younger generation that plays too much too soon. Mbappé is only 27, but he has the mileage of a 35-year-old. France isn't just relying on him, they are draining him. The tragedy of this squad isn't just who is injured, it's who is missing. In late 2024, Antoine Griezmann did something nobody expected. He walked away. Griezmann, the glue that held the Deschamps era together, retired from international duty. Why? Because the machine shifted, the hierarchy changed, the captaincy went to Mbappé, and the darling of the general felt like a relic. Now, with the World Cup weeks away, France realizes they didn't just lose a player, they lost their balance. Without Griezmann's sacrifice, the stars are just individuals running in different directions. France has the luxury of 2 starting 11s, but as Deschamps warned, depth is a trap. The federation booked the friendlies, the sponsors demanded the starts, the clubs, Real Madrid, PSG, Liverpool, pushed the limits, and now the list reads like a hospital wing. Ekitike, Mbappé, even the young stars like Désiré Doué and Michael Olise are managing loads. The machine built to dominate the world is now vibrating itself to pieces. Didier Deschamps will resign after this World Cup. He has already announced it. He wanted to leave on a high, a 3rd consecutive final, but the general's warnings about arrogance and humility were ignored by a nation that thought the talent would never run out. As of late April 2026, the French flag is still flying high, but the wind is dying. They have the trophies, the money, and the fame, but as they prepare to board the plane to North America, they are realizing the one thing the general always knew. You can't win a World Cup with a team of individuals.